Hello and welcome to Fitscope. This is your yoga class today. This is a 50-minute side flow practice that I'd like to do. So it's like for intermediate, we are going to build a lot of heat in the sides, the oblique area, the kind of love handle area, as they say. So just stretching and strengthening the sides, which is very much a part of your core. So you're going to start sitting, and you don't need any props today either. So you're going to start sitting today, just crossing one shin in front of the other. Let's start with the right in front of the left, just so we're all on the same page. Right shin crossed in front of the left. You can bring your palms down on your thighs. Bring the eyes to close for a moment. Just resting here, just for a moment, finding stillness. So maybe this posture isn't super comfortable for you. That's okay. We're not going to be here for very long. Just notice how you're feeling in this posture, how you're feeling on this day or night. See if you can lengthen up through the spine. And relaxing the muscles in your face. And bringing your awareness to your breath. From that awareness to your breath, just start to find your ujjayi breath, that base of the throat breath that comes in and out through the nose. And slight constriction of the back of the throat. If you'd like, you can start to blink the eyes open. Maybe you even keep them closed if you'd like. That feels okay. On an inhale, just circle the arms up towards the sky. And as you bring the arms up towards the sky, make sure the shoulders don't hike up to your ears. They relax down away from your ears. You lift your chest up towards the sky as well as your low belly keeps lifting. Maybe you gaze up. Maybe you press the palms together if the arms can stay straight. Then bring the hands down by your heart. Bowing your head a little bit, pressing your chest into your thumbs into your chest. Perhaps setting your intention for your practice today. And what that means is just your reason for showing up onto the mat. What do you want to release? What do you want to invite? Again, release the arms, circle them up towards the sky, maybe gaze up, maybe palms press. And bring your right hand down to the floor and keep your left arm reaching up towards the sky, just a little side bend here. So you can take a little bend in your right arm, reach that left arm up and over. The shoulder still stays away from your ears. Your low belly keeps lifting so your ribs don't puff out. And can you stay rooted evenly through both sit bones? And if it feels okay on your neck and it encourages your chest to open even more, you can gaze up towards your arm. And gently press into that right hand to come back up. Bring the left hand down. Reach your right arm up towards the sky, a little side bend. So taking a little bend in your elbow again, reaching that right arm up towards the sky and then off to the side, shoulder away from your ears. This tricep is kind of wrapping down a little bit like towards your face. That's going to open up the back of the shoulder. And again, rooting evenly through both sit bones. Maybe gazing up towards the arm. And gently bring yourself back up. You're going to come to standing on your shins. So uncross the legs, come to standing on your shins. Your shins are just about hips distance apart for right now. And then step your right foot out to the side. So I want like the arch of your foot to be in line with your knee. This is Parigasana, gate pose. You're going to gently place your right hand onto your right thigh. Reach that left arm up towards the sky. And again, just side bend towards the right. So same kind of thing, but now the legs are different. Low belly keeps lifting. You start to lengthen up and off to the side. And this arm, this hand, you're not bearing a lot of weight on it. If you were to lift it, your body pretty much stays the same. Very light fingertips there. And if you do bear any weight, it's either on the thigh or on the side of the shin. Let's just avoid any sort of weight on the knee. Low belly keeps lifting. Can you lengthen up and over more? Gently bring yourself back up, releasing that arm down, bring the shin down on the right side, then step the left foot out to the side. So again, arch in line with your knee, and that foot, it's parallel to the side of the mat, right? And that leg is active, your low belly keeps lifting. There's even maybe a little action of the inner thighs drawing back. That's gonna help you find neutral in your hips and spaciousness in your low back. Then reach your right arm up to the sky, just gently side bend towards the left. Low belly keeps lifting, and every time you side bend, right, you want to find space in that side body. It's almost like you're bending over a barrel. There's length there, rather than just crunching. Shoulder away from your ear, lengthen up and over. Low belly keeps lifting. And take 2 more breaths. Gently bring it back up, coming onto your shins, then come onto all fours, please. So hands and knees, wrists under your shoulders, fingers are spread wide, knees under your hips, they're hips distance. Let's do 3 big cat-cows. Inhale, heart reaches forward, belly towards the mat. Exhale, round. Inhale, heart forward. Upper arms can wrap back a little bit. Exhale, round. Inhale, heart reaches forward, wrap the arms back. And exhale, round. Then find a neutral position with the spine. Now you're gonna do like rib circles here. So it's almost like your rib cage is going through like the inside of a hula hoop. Like there's a hula hoop wrapped around your rib cage. So you just gently kind of bring the ribs down and around, and then up, then off to the side and down again. So just a couple of circles in either direction. And trying to isolate the rib cage, maybe stretching a little bit through the side body. Like you're going around the inside of a hula hoop. And then once your chest is kind of collapsing or coming towards the floor, you can switch the direction of that circle. So moving it the other way, wrapping it up towards the sky, and then off to the side, and back down again a couple of more times. Let's do one more circle here, just trying to isolate the rib cage, moving it around in circles. And then once the chest is kind of coming towards the floor, you find neutral. So low belly lifts and chest reaches forward. For a brief moment, take a child's pose. Knees come wider than your hips, big toes touch, forehead to the mat. And from this child's pose, start to walk your hands towards the right. Walking the hands towards the right, trying to keep your hips pretty heavy onto your heels. And gently bring it back to center and start to walk the hands towards the left. So trying to stay low in the torso, low in the hips as you walk those hands towards the left. And gently bring it back to center. Start to lengthen through the arms, to reach through the fingertips as far forward as they'll go. Shoulders away from your ears, upper arms wrapped down to the mat. Press through all 10 fingers. And then take your hips away from your heels, curl your toes under, and take a downward facing dog. Adho Mukha Svanasana. Your feet are hips distance apart. For a moment, if it feels good, you can start to slowly, gently pedal out the feet one at a time, maybe connecting that with your breath, getting into the hamstrings, getting into the calves. Reach your right leg up towards the sky. Open up the hips towards the right. See if your shoulders and chest can kind of square still towards the floor. Your hands are pressing into the mat evenly. Bend your knee, just opening up the hip. The left hip draws back. Can you get long in the left side body as you open up through the hip? And then straighten the legs, square the hips to the mat, and place that foot down. Let's do the other side. Inhale, left leg lifts. Open up the hips towards the left. Bend that knee. And start to open up the hips even more. Shoulders and chest trying to square towards the mat as you open up through that side body. And gently straighten the leg. Square the hips and bring that foot down. Just holding down dog, couple of breaths. Shift forward to plank pose, please, top of a push-up. Holding plank pose for a couple of breaths. There's a buoyancy in your body. You're not collapsing in the shoulders. You press the floor away from you. Chest forward, low belly lifts. Inner thighs draw up towards the sky. Just holding, building heat. So a lot of the side body work that we're going to do, or like sort of the bulk or peak of our class, has to do with plank pose. We're going to come into side planks a little later. So just finding that strength and that pressing into the hands, into the fingertips, and there's a buoyancy like your body could lift up towards the sky. Shift it back to downward facing dog pose. And inhale, shift forward, plank pose again. And exhale, knees, chest, chin, or one piece. If you're going in one piece, you shift forward to your tippy toes, bend at the elbows, lower down, hover for a breath, elbows at the same height of your shoulders. And exhale, bring yourself all the way down. Prop yourself up onto your forearms, please. So we're gonna do some forearm side planks as well later on. So make sure your shoulders are over your elbows. Your fingers are spread wide, and forearms parallel to one another. You're on the tops of your feet. Your legs are active here. And just holding Sphinx pose for a couple of breaths. There can be a gentle, like dragging back of the arms, kind of like your elbows trying to draw back towards your front hips and vice versa. Inner thighs draw up. And again, not collapsing in the shoulders, pressing the floor away to lift the chest up. Low back is happy here. In all of your back bends, your low back is happy because you're lifting your low belly to lengthen back there. And coming into forearm planks, but on the tops of your feet, we're just going to do a round of 5. On an exhale, lift everything up except for the tops of the feet and the forearms. Inhale, bring it down. Exhale, lift. Inhale, bring it down. Exhale, lift. Inhale, bring it down. Let's do 2 more. Exhale, lift. And bring it down. Last time, exhale, lift. And bring it down. Great. Bring your forehead onto the mat. Bring your hands by your floating ribs, wrists pretty much under your elbows. Inhale, peel head and chest, low cobra. Elbows back, shoulders back, lift up. Exhale, bring it down. Inhale, peel head and chest. Elbows back, shoulders back, legs are active, all 10 toes press into the mat, inner thighs lift. Exhale, bring it down. Gaze at your hands, make sure your wrists are under your elbows. Inhale, peel head and chest, elbows back, shoulders back. Maybe press into the arms and come into upward facing dog. You're just on the hands and the tops of the feet. Inhale, reach the chest forward, upper arms wrap back, inner thighs draw up towards the sky, low belly lifts. So no pressure in the low back. Then exhale, low belly lifts you up and back to downward facing dog, holding. Great. And from here, gaze between the hands, step up to that space. Inhale up halfway, heart reaches forward. Exhale, forward folds. Inhale, circle the arms up, reach up, gaze up. Maybe palms press up above you. Exhale, bring your hands to your heart. Let's flow and build some heat. Inhale, circle the arms up. Exhale, forward fold over the legs. Inhale up halfway, heart reaches. Exhale, plant your hands, step it back, lower down to the mat. Chaturanga, knees, chest, chin, or one piece. Back bend of your choice, low cobra or up dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Holding. At the bottom of your next exhale, gaze between the hands and step up to that space. Inhale up halfway, heart reaches. Exhale, forward folds. Inhale, circle the arms up, reach up, gaze up. And exhale, hands to your heart. Checking your foundation, feet are parallel and hips distance or all the way together. Maybe the heel's a little split if you're taking feet together. Inhale, circle the arms up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale up halfway, heart reaches forward. Exhale, plant your hands, step it back, lower down, chaturanga, knees, chest, chin, or one piece. Back bend, low cobra or up dog. Exhale, downward facing dog, holding. And at the bottom of your next exhale, gaze between the hands, step up to that space. Inhale up halfway, heart reaches. Exhale, forward folds. Inhale, circle the arms up, reach up, gaze up, and exhale, hands to your heart. Last time like that, inhale, circle up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale up halfway, heart reaches. Exhale, plant the hands, step it back, move through your vinyasa to downward facing dog. Chaturanga, knees, chest, chin, or one piece. Back bend, low cobra or up dog. Exhale, downward facing dog, holding. Inhale, reach your right leg up towards the sky. Exhale, place that foot between the hands. As best you can, step that foot between the hands. Back heel spins to the mat. You're gonna start in Warrior 2, or Warrior 1, just as a transition. So you're heel to start, heel to start. Press through that front heel, reach the arms straight up for Warrior 1. So at first, you're trying to square everything towards the front. Low belly lifts, back leg strong, whole foot presses on the back foot. Can you bend a little bit lower in that front leg, but not if it makes the back foot lift a little bit. So I want the root to be strong in the back foot. Maybe that hamstring comes towards parallel a little more. Inhale, lengthen up through the chest. Maybe that lifts the gaze, maybe palms press. Then bring your hands to your heart. Start to open up to Warrior 2. Move this front foot over to the left. So your heel to arch in one line. Bring the arms out to the sides. Maybe you bend a little deeper. Your low belly keeps lifting here. Your gaze, your attention, your knee, your front toes, they point towards the front, but your chest is opening towards the side. Low belly lifts. Getting into the side body, turn this right palm up towards the sky. It starts from the shoulder socket. Reach it up and over for reverse warrior. Maybe the hand comes back behind you. Maybe it rests very lightly on the leg, not doing anything that back there. Maybe you hook the top of the thigh. Bend a little lower in that front knee as you reach up and back. Reverse warrior, low belly's lifting. Stay strong in the legs. You got this. Warrior 2. Reach through the fingertips. Maybe forearm on the leg. Lift left arm up towards the sky. Low belly keeps lifting. Chest keeps opening towards the side. Maybe fingertips come to the inside or outside of that foot. If the chest stays nice and open towards the side in that variation. So I know for me, it feels better if my arm is in line with the inside of my shin and I'm on my fingertips. That makes me feel like my chest is nice and open, but again, maybe forearm is on the leg. Turn this palm to face forward, reach it up and over. Parsva Konasana, low belly keeps lifting, chest is opening. Press through the feet, bring yourself back up, warrior two, you got this, stay low in the leg just for a beat, and then straighten through that front leg. Step the back foot in just by about a footprint, so coming into Trikonasana, reach through the right fingertips, reach, 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 reach. Keep reaching, I even angle those back toes in towards the front, even a little bit more, because the attention of my legs is where my fingertips are going and my chest is open towards the side, and then bring the hand down. Maybe it's on the floor, maybe it's very light on your shin. Chest is open towards the side, your right hip keeps cutting back. Maybe you gaze up to the fingertips if that feels okay for your neck, not super important. This is just to encourage the chest to open even more. You're pressing through the big toe mound of that front foot. And there's even a little scissoring action in the inner thighs here, like your inner thighs drawing back. Then this top arm, turn it to face forward, and then reach it up and over. And if you want to challenge your obliques here, you can maybe bring both arms up, like you're holding a beach ball up above your head. And then arms come out to the sides again, press through your feet, reach through the top arm coming out of the pose, take a bend in your right knee, bring the hands down to frame the foot, move through your vinyasa to downward facing dog. To place in a special way, it doesn't have to be chaturanga, back bend, down dog every time. It can be whatever you'd like it to be to come to downward facing dog. From down dog, inhale, left leg lifts. Exhale, place that foot between the hands. Back heel spins to the mat, heel to start, coming into Vira 1 first. Press through that front heel, reach the arms straight up, Virabhadrasana 1. So again, bring the attention first to that back foot. Really root it, outer edge roots. From that root, maybe you bend a little lower in the front leg. That back leg is strong though. Hamstring may be coming towards parallel. Low belly lifts. Pressing through the front heel when the knee is bent this way. Inhale, reach the chest up towards the sky. Maybe that lifts the gaze, maybe palms pressed up above you. And then bring the hands to your hearts. Start to open up to warrior two. So you're stepping this left foot towards the right, so your heel to arch in one line. This right hip opens a little bit, only because the chest opened towards the side, and the hip kind of comes along for the ride. Arms out to the sides. Low belly lifts. You're pressing through that front heel. Turn this left palm to face up, reach it up and back, reverse warrior. Again, the hand is very light on the leg, not doing much, or it can be back behind you, or maybe it hooks the top of the thigh. As you bend lower, perhaps, in that left leg, you reach up and back a little more. Again, can there be length in the right side body as you reach up and back? Stay with the legs, bring yourself back up to warrior two. Reach through the left fingertips, reach. Then maybe forearm comes onto the leg, right arm up to the sky. Maybe the fingertips are on the inside or outside of the leg, wherever your hands or arms need to be so your chest is open to the side. Do not compromise the openness in your chest for some goal of touching the floor. And this top arm reaches up and over. Low belly's lifting. Still pressing through that front heel. Also, did this stance get a little long for you? Is there like a pulling in your groin that's a little uncomfortable? You can maybe step the back toes in just a smidge if that's happening. Sometimes it happens that the stance gets a little long. Again, this top arm reaches up and over, reaching it up and over the face. Pinky edge of the finger points down. Gaze down at that front foot. Stay low in the legs. Reach up with the top arm, come up to warrior two for a breath. You got this. And then straighten through that leg. Well done. Step those back toes in just by about a footprint, just shortening the stance for Trikonasana. Reach through the left fingertips. Reach, reach, reach. As soon as my fingertips reach and my heart reaches towards my fingertips, like my left hip is reaching back. Get long. You want to get long in both side bodies. Reach, reach, reach. Then reach down. No attachment to where those hands go. I don't even look down to see where my hands went. Once I'm done reaching, the arms come down. Wherever they go, they go. They're very light on that leg if you're using it. You can even use the back of the hand and just have it on the inside of the leg. Maybe gaze comes up. If that helps open up the chest, if it's straining the neck, just gaze anywhere that feels okay. Pressing through the big toe mound of that front foot now. And then for a couple of breaths, reach this arm up and over. If you want to add more challenge, reach the left arm up. So you're getting really strong in those obliques, like you're holding a beach ball up above you. And then split the arms again, press through the feet, bring yourself back up to stand. Take a bend in that leg, bring the hands down to frame the foot, move through your vinyasa to downward facing dog. Taking your time, mindful movement every time, checking in every time. Holding down dog for a couple of breaths. All right. From here, take a brief child's pose, very brief, just taking stock of the work you've already done. You can bring your arms down by your sides. All right. Bring those arms out in front of you again. Coming onto all fours. You're going to come onto your forearms for a moment. And for a moment, actually interlace your hands out in front of you. So interlacing the hands out in front of you, your elbows are the width of your shoulders. And again, you're not collapsing, right? You're kind of pressing the floor away from you to lift up through the shoulders. And then step your feet back for forearm plank. And just hold forearm plank for a couple of breaths. Deep breaths here. Chest reaches forward, inner thighs draw up, low belly lifts. All right. And then release the interlace, but keep the forearms at this kind of diagonal. You're going to plant your left fingertips. You're going to start to come onto the outer edge of your left foot. So the outer edge of your left foot is in line with your elbow. You can come onto your right fingertips first and stack your feet. Then bring your right hand onto your hip. So the forearm being at this angle sometimes makes it easier for the shoulder to be in this position. But again, very important that you're not collapsing in that shoulder, right? You're pressing the floor away from you, kind of lifting up so you're not collapsing there. Bring your hand onto your hip. Maybe gaze at your hips for a moment. Your feet are flexed and that top hip isn't going back behind you. Your hips are totally stacked. You can keep your hand on your hip. Some side body stuff here, it's gonna be hard. So you're gonna drop your hips a little bit and then lift them up. Drop the hips without them touching the floor and lift them up. And drop a little bit and lift. And last two, just dropping and lifting. Last one, drop a little bit and lift. Great. Coming back to forearm plank, interlacing the hands out in front of you. Stay in forearm plank, you got this. Then plant your right fingertips. Your forearm's going to stay at a diagonal. You're going to come onto the outer edge of your right foot, edge of your foot in line with your elbow. Stack your feet. You're on your fingertips to start. Once you have a bit of stability, and you're pressing a lot through those fingertips on the right side, you can bring your hand onto your hip. And again, making sure that your hips are pretty stacked on one another. and you're not collapsing through that shoulder. Then on an exhale, descend the hips a little bit, and inhale, lift them up, and exhale, descend, and lift them up. Exhale, descend, lift them up. Can you lift them up more? Last two, exhale, descend, and lift them up. And exhale, descend a little bit, and lift them up. And bring it back to forearm plank. And since we're in this position, your fingers are interlaced out in front of you. Just walk the feet in towards your elbows for dolphin pose. Pressing those forearms forward of you. Outer arms wrap back towards your feet. Your spine is long, maybe a little bend in your knees to lengthen your hips further up and back. And gently take a child's pose again, please. Forehead to the mat, arms down by your sides. So hopefully pretty warm. You can come onto downward facing dog from here, reaching your arms out in front of you, curling toes under, hips up and back. And from here, come forward to plank pose, top of a push-up. Inner thighs drawing up. So Vashistasana, full Vashistasana here. That's side plank. You're going to plant through that left hand. Turn onto the outer edge of your left foot, making sure your outer edge is in line with your wrist. Stack your feet. And reach the arms straight up towards the sky. Vashistasana. Again, can you gaze down at your hips, make sure that they're really stacked on one another? Can you flex your feet a lot? And you're not collapsing through that shoulder. Just holding. Turn this top palm and reach forward. Reach it up and overhead, shoulder away from your ear. Maybe the gaze comes up towards the sky. Maybe you lift the hips a little bit more. Bring that arm up towards the sky again. Bring it back to plank pose. We have the second side. You can do this. Your feet are hips distance to start. Root through that right hand. Come onto the outer edge of your right foot. Stack your feet. You can start on your left fingertips for stability, making sure your shoulder is over your wrist. Then start to open up your chest. Maybe you keep your hand on your hip if that works for balance, or reach that left arm up towards the sky. Upper arm wraps back on the right side towards your feet. Low belly's lifting. Your hips are stacked one on the other. Your feet are flexed. And turn this top palm to face forward. Reach it up and over. Maybe as you reach it up and over, you lift the hips a little more. Gently bring that arm back up to the sky. Bring it back to plank pose. Maybe if you have it in you, take one more vinyasa chaturanga back bend. If you're in your back bend, hold for an extra breath. Get long, get tall. Maybe it's low cobra, or maybe it's upward facing dog. And exhale, downward facing dog. Take another child's pose for a brief moment before we try to bring a little bit more to that side plank. All right. Let's do this. We can do this. I know you can. Bring your hips away from your heels. Curl toes under, downward facing dog. Shift forward again, plank pose. You're gonna come into Vashistasana again and maybe turn it into a back bend, a little bit of a back bend. So we'll start on the left side, plant through the left hand, stack your feet, coming back up to Vashistasana. Option to stay here, option to come out of it. I'm not there, you can do whatever you want. Or you bring the ball of your right foot back behind you, and you reach back with your right arm. This is like a little back bend. It's called Wild Thing. You're pressing through that hand to not collapse through the shoulder. Reach it up and back. You're on the outer edge of that left foot. You're on the ball of your right foot, reaching it up and back. And gently bring it back to plank pose. Let's do the other side. Outer edge of your right foot in line with your wrist, shoulder over the wrist, reach that arm up towards the sky. Find that neutral position first. Ball of your left foot comes back behind you. You start to lift the hips, the chest, arm reaches up and over. Wild thing. And gently bring it back to plank pose. Maybe one more vinyasa, lower down. Back bend, up dog or low cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog and holding. And take another child's pose, please. Arms down by your sides. You've done the work. The hard part's over, the rigorous, demanding part. And now you're just going to receive. And bring your arms out in front of you. Walk your hands back towards your legs. You're going to come to your seat. We're going to take a hip opener. So a deep hip opener, it's double pigeon. And if double pigeon isn't happening, that's where you stack your shins one on the other. And if you are in this position and the knees hiking up a little bit, honestly, if your feet are flexed and your knees don't feel any sensation or discomfort, then you can be in this position and have it not look like they're perfectly stacked on one another. Or you can just cross the shins like we did in the beginning. So you can start with the right shin crossed in front of the left, or right shin stacked on top of the left. Choose what works for you, just knowing that the knees are the boss. If they complain, you have to make it so they don't. Sitting up tall, maybe just stay sitting up tall. If you'd like, whether the shins are crossed or stacked, maybe you can forward fold a little bit. Arms coming out in front of you if you do that. Feet flexed for whichever variation you choose. And if you are in this double pigeon, or even if you only have the shins crossed, you can start to walk your hands towards the left. Walk the hands towards the left. And if you do have that double pigeon position, the bottom of your foot is there. Maybe the back of the upper arm on the right side kind of hooks to the outside or the bottom of the foot. And gently bring it back to center. Forward folding one last moment. And gently walk your hands back towards your legs. Maybe with the help of your hands, you release the crossing of your shins or the stacking, and you stack or cross the other way. So left shin on top or in front. Flex your feet. Maybe you stay upright. Maybe you start to forward fold over those legs. Again, knees are totally happy and fine. Arms coming down if you're coming into that forward fold. And start to walk your hands towards the right. If you chose to forward fold, if you chose double pigeon, you can maybe hook the back of the upper arm to the bottom of that foot. Just forward fold to the side. Gently start to bring it back to center, forward folding one last moment. And walk your hands back towards your legs. And gently release that. Bring your legs out to the sides. And so they don't have to go as wide as they possibly can. They can even go that wide and then a little bit in. Your hands are back behind you, just to prop yourself up for a second. You can even press into the hands, kind of release the low back a little bit. Your legs are active. Feet are active. Feet are flexed. Then we're going to take this into some side bends. So bring your hands out in front of you. Just gently, you can kind of bring the forearm to the inner leg. And if that's a little too low, you can even just rest it on the leg. Reach the left arm up towards the sky. And reach it up and over. Shoulder away from your ear. Your chest is opening towards the side. I even press the forearm into the leg a little bit just to open up the chest more. Reach up and over. Can you root through both sit bones evenly? Maybe gazing up towards that arm. And gently bring yourself back up. We'll do the other side. So forearm, maybe rests on the floor. I find that my chest kind of closes a little bit when I do that. So I want to bring the forearm kind of up on the leg. Reach the right arm up towards the sky. Reach that palm towards the left foot and reach it up and over. Both feet are flexed. You're rooting, trying to root evenly through both sit bones. Chest is open towards the side. Gently bring it back up. With the help of your hands, gather the legs back together. Bring the bottoms of the feet together. Since we're in this position, it just seems natural that we would come into Baddha Konasana. You can bring the hands to the outer edges of your feet, onto the tops of your feet. You can gently start to open up the feet like you would the pages of a book. And relax the legs as much as you can. Lengthen up. Maybe from there you start to forward fold, a little flex through the toes. Gently bring yourself back up. With the help of your hands, gather the legs back together. Come to lie on your back, please. Gently bringing the knees in towards your chest. Keep the right knee hugging in, extend the left leg out onto the mat. Just gently take it for a twist. Just dropping that knee towards the left, right arm out to the side. Can you square your shoulders onto the mat? Right hip drawing away from your chest. Gently bringing it back to center, hugging both knees in again, Extending right leg, keeping left knee hugged in. Gently dropping that knee towards the right. Squaring the backs of your shoulders onto the mat, left arm out to the side. Your right hand can stay on the outer leg, maybe gazing towards the left. Gently bring it back to center, hugging both knees in towards your chest. And plant the feet onto the mat. Just 2 brief bridge poses here. Reach for the backs of your heels. Just barely graze them. Arms down by your sides. Press through the feet. Press through the arms. Lift your chest up towards the sky. Hips up towards the ceiling. Any amount that feels okay for your back. Inner thighs draw down. Inner foot heavy. Maybe interlacing your hands behind your back. Scooching the flesh of the shoulders under, lift up. And gently release the interlace if you had it and come back to the mat. We'll do that one last time. Come bring the forearms to lift, fingertips point towards the sky. Press into the upper arms, press into the feet, lift the hips up. Maybe interlacing back behind you, switching the lacing of your hands, scooch the flesh of the shoulders under, lift. And gently release, vertebra by vertebra, come back down. And gently float your knees towards your chest. Gently press the shins down towards your sit bones to get long through your spine. And then grabbing a hold of the outer edges of your feet for happy baby. One last pose here, maybe rocking a little bit side to side. Gently hug the knees in. Just release the legs out onto the mat for Shavasana. Corpse pose, arms down by your sides, shoulders away from your ears, eyes closed. Long inhale through the nose. Exhale out the mouth. Releasing any controlled breath, any movement, just finding stillness. If you can stay in Shavasana for a little longer on this day or night, please do. And if not, start to lengthen your breath. And bring movement back to the body, moving fingers and toes. Reach your arms up and overhead and gently float your knees in towards your chest. Rock to your right or left side. And just gently prop yourself up to a seat. Any comfortable seat that works for you, crossed shins or maybe on your shins. Sitting up tall, palms face down on your thighs, just for a moment, sitting in what this practice gave you, what it offered you. And then bring your hands in prayer at your chest, bow your head, lift your chest, honoring your practice, yourself, your inner brilliance. Thank you so much for joining us. This is Fitscope. My name is Alessandra. Namaste.